Okay, welcome to another video where we talk about Stoicism. Now going over the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. We'll skip a couple of sections here and we go to section 49 in book 4, which I found a very nice one and one that I think is an important topic to remind ourselves of. This really embodies a lot of Stoic principles, so a somewhat longer section. Let me read it to you. Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and round it the seething waters are laid to rest. It is my bad luck that this has happened to me. No. You should rather say, it is my good luck that, although this has happened to me, I can bear it without pain, neither crushed by the present nor fearful of the future. Because such a thing could have happened to any man, but not every man could have borne it without pain. So why see more misfortune in the event than good fortune in your ability to bear it? Or in general, would you call anything a misfortune for a man which is not a deviation from man's nature? Or anything a deviation from man's nature which is not contrary to the purpose of his nature? Well then, you have learned what that purpose is. Can there be anything then in this happening which prevents you being just, high-minded, self-controlled, intelligent, judicious, truthful, honorable, and free? Or any other of those attributes whose combination is the fulfillment of man's proper nature? So in all future events which might induce sadness, remember to call on this principle. This is no misfortune, but to bear it true to yourself is good fortune. Wow. A tough one. This is a tough one because this is hard for us to do. It is hard for us to do. Especially at the moment. So if you're in the moment and something bad happens to you, I think it's a very common, natural, normal human reaction to think, why me? Why does this happen to me? Why now? I once saw, I don't know if I've mentioned this example before, but I've always found it an interesting example. I once saw, it was a documentary about a monk, and they followed this monk, a Christian monk. And he was also a priest, and he went to a family in his parish to the Eucharistic celebration. So he went to this older couple, and the woman was, it was clear that she had a lot of trouble walking. This was a very old couple, right? These were old people. And the presenter of the documentary asked this woman, the lady, she couldn't walk well anymore, right? Do you ever talk about this with Pater Gerion, the monk? This was in Belgium. And she said, yeah, sometimes. And then he said, well, what kind of questions do you ask? And she said, of course, this is what he was fishing for. Why did this happen to me? Why now? And I've always enjoyed the answer that the monk gave, and you have to be a little careful how you interpret that. But he was a monk. He was a priest. He was a Christian person who took his faith very, very seriously. I mean, he was a monk, right? He lives those principles. So, of course, he would give a theological answer. This is understandable. But I love his answer because, in a way, it was very Stoic. He said, this is a very important question. Why me? And when bad things happen to people, we often think this. Why me? Why already? Why now? And then he continued and he said, but that is a question we cannot answer. And then he went on a little bit about God, and you don't know God's reasoning, etc. And then he said, but you can also turn that question around. Instead of asking, why me, why now, you could also think of your neighbor and say, why not her? How come that she gets to age so healthily and can still walk at this age? And he said that question too, we cannot answer. It's an important question we need to think about, but we cannot answer it. I thought it was fantastic. I don't want to talk about the theology of all this, because this is not a seminar on theology. We're talking about Stoicism, but that is an incredibly Stoic answer. You can't change the thing, but you can change your perspective. And when it's war up there, which it is for all of us, one moment or another, it is, there's no denying this, we all struggle with things, that is the thing to remember. Instead of saying, why me, it always happens to me, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but why not her? Why does it not happen to her or not happen to him? That will not resolve anything, but it will change your perspective. You are still, in the context of this older lady, you're still as unable to walk. Nothing changes. But your perspective changes. There's no solution, but your perspective changes. And instead of asking these questions that won't lead you anywhere, why me, why now, why can't I walk, why can't I do this? Fair questions. And I'm not saying you cannot feel. That sucks. But thinking in terms of, why me, why does this happen to me, you can change the way you think about that. Like what? What could you think? How about what Marcus says? It is my bad luck that this has happened to me. No, you should rather say, it is my good luck that although this has happened to me, I can bear it without pain, neither crushed by the present nor fearful of the future. That's what it means to be a Stoic. You can't slip into depression. You can't say, well, I'll come back to that. Let me nuance that. You can't say, I feel terrible about this, so, well, everything is lost, this is the end of the world. If you do that, then you are foregoing all your Stoic teachings. And this is very difficult, because it's easy to sit in an armchair and say, oh, I'm a Stoic, yeah, nothing bothers me, you know. Until something happens, it's a lot harder to say, this has happened to me, and it's detrimental, but it is okay. I can handle this. Because I survived, I will get through this. It's not the thing that bothers you, but how you think about it. Now, as to this depression. Some people are depressed, okay? I want to make this absolutely clear. If you really are depressed, if you are clinically depressed, you cannot talk yourself out of that with Stoicism, okay? This is not going to work. You will need therapy, and you may need medication. I want to make that absolutely clear. No discussion about this, right? But I'm not talking about clinical depression, clinical anxiety, these kinds of things. I'm talking about the things that happen to us on a daily basis. I was talking to a colleague the other day, and she got rear-ended by a big pickup truck. So her car, which was not particularly old, was dented severely, and it's written off. And she had to buy a new car, and she was very pissed off and annoyed, and then I have to buy a new car and all that, and I didn't want to do that, and I would spend my money on that. Well, are you dead? Did anyone get injured? It's a car. I understand the frustration. Natural, of course. You weren't looking to be rear-ended by someone. You weren't looking to replace your car at this moment. Is this a terrible inconvenience that will also cost you money? Of course. You get some money from the insurance, though. Not everything. I realize that. But look at the differences in approach. You either say, I got rear-ended, this is terrible, this is awful, I cannot bear this, what a waste of time, I now have to go this, I have to buy a new car, I cannot buy a car where I live because I want a fancy car, I have to drive all the way to that city, I have to do all these things, I can't get a rental car. These were all kind of things that came up. I'm not harping on her. But these are all things that came up. Does it help you to think these things? Do you think it helps you? Do you think it makes you feel better to think these thoughts? Or do you think that maybe, possibly, potentially, it might be more beneficial for you to think, well, this sucks. I'm annoyed. And you can be annoyed. Don't forget, Stoicism is not about extirpating your emotions. The Stoic feels. Of course you can have a flash of anger, you can have a flash of frustration. Of course it's normal, it's natural, it's how things work. But then you choose to give assent to that emotion or not. And that's the hard part. You can also think, you know what, this sucks. I get to upgrade my car. Could be fun. Do I have to pay money? Yeah. Do you know a car is a good investment? Of course it's not. You know it's a waste of money. You buy it and it depreciates in value as soon as you drive out of the dealership. You know this. You know this is how cars work. But you may need one. And if you need one, that's what you have to do. Did anyone get hurt? No, she didn't get hurt. She didn't have a whiplash. She had nothing. No one got hurt. Does it suck? Yeah, absolutely. No one got hurt. Did she have to spend weeks in the hospital to be treated? No, no one did. There were no victims, truly like injured victims in this. There's two cars hitting each other. So, is that a different way of thinking? Is that a way of thinking that maybe, possibly, potentially will actually make you feel a little better about it? As I said, now you get to upgrade your car. Did you want to? Not really. Is it convenient? Not really. Does it have to be done? Yes. Is this going to knock years of your life? Not really. Did you end up paralyzed in a wheelchair in a terrible accident? Not really. Can you bear it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. This is a fairly innocent example. I'm sure you can imagine there are less innocent examples. People who fall ill or suffer over these kinds of things. You know, bad things. Is my bad luck that this has happened to me? No. You should rather say, it's my good luck that although this has happened to me, I can bear it without pain, neither crushed by the present nor fearful of the future. That's what it means to be a Stoic. Right? It's okay. It sucks right now, but it could have been a lot worse. It's really not that bad. And a lot of the things that happen to us in life are really not that bad. And some things royally suck. But even then, it's up to you how you interpret that thing. Is there potential to look at a positive? Then do so. Even if it's just a matter of, well, yeah, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I walked out alive. I can work on things. I can use this as potential to become an even better version of myself. Remember, you're not perfect, but you can make progress, and progress is enough. This is true for Stoics. Prokopsi. Progress. Progress is enough. So next time something happens to you, you can freak out for about 5 seconds and then you will stop yourself. And instead of thinking, this is terrible, this always happens to me, you can think, no, it's good. Character building. This allows me to become a better person, a stronger person, a more reliable person, a more motivated person. I've got this. And that's it. I hope this was useful, and I'll very gladly see you again next week for more discussions on Stoicism. Bye-bye.